Hey, I hope you're doing well. Just a quick story about a social media post that I made last week. If you watched the live coaching in Academy last week, answering a question from a viewer, I kind of talked my way through realizing that I feel like I'm probably the tennis coach that has more frequently and more publicly failed than any other tennis coach ever. And if you don't think that's correct, then please, tell me. Let me know who you think has failed. A tennis coach, not a professional tennis player, but a professional tennis coach. And so I kind of liked that idea, and I made a quick Facebook post about it last week, both my personal account and then the groups that we have, and then that extended on to our social media platforms and channels. And it was really interesting to me seeing the responses. It was just like a one sentence thing, and it said basically what I just said. I failed. It said I am proud to have failed more publicly and frequently than any other tennis coach, I think was all it said. And it was about 50-50 the response. About half of the people who responded understood where I was coming from and either were like, hey, we're really proud of you, like thanks so much like for sharing, so much about your journey, yada yada yada, or said, oh, I guess those were kind of the two things, like we're proud of you and like thanks, thanks for sharing your journey, so on and so forth. But basically understood. Oh, I'm sorry. The other kind of main positive response was you can't learn without failing. Kind of mantra. Like the way forward, or the way to progress is through learning and failure. And so I totally like understood where I was coming from. So that was about half the responses, and the other half were people that it definitely like it made them uncomfortable. Either they didn't quite know the context. It seemed like they didn't really understand what I meant by that, and so but the underlying like feeling or like vibe that I got from them was they were like concerned for me, and so a lot of people responding saying, "What are you talking about? Like, are you okay? Like, did something bad happen? Kind of thing." Or people even pushing back altogether and saying, what do you mean? Like you just launched a book. Like you're so successful. Like you should focus on the positive. Basically, was kind of the theme of the other people. Or third, and I guess people who just didn't understand what I was talking about, basically saying, "What failures? Like, can you tell me? Can you tell me what you're talking about?" So anyway, it was interesting. I didn't. First of all, I expected all positive responses. I didn't anticipate the people who would like push back against it, and like at all. And then the fact that like half of the people pushed back against it was really interesting to me. And so it just caused me to kind of pause and think, wow, like if that's generally like representative, if kind of half of the people out there understand the whole idea behind what I posted and value the idea of challenging yourself, pushing yourself, leaving your comfort zone, failing, and then learning from it and then improving. And the other half of people, broadly speaking, generally speaking, are kind of like failure adverse and like no, they want to focus on the positive and like let's not talk about the negative and oh, you're so successful and like you've done so many great things, yada yada. Like that's not at all the response that I was looking for, or I wasn't looking for people to say like, oh no, it's okay, it's okay. Like I meant what I said. Like I'm actually proud. I'm actually really proud of it. But it made so many people uncomfortable, which was kind of interesting to me. So anyway, I guess my advice to you would be just reflect on it a little bit. And what was your geez, sorry. What was your like knee jerk response when you heard me say, "I'm proud of the fact that I've more frequently and publicly failed than any other tennis coach." And if you don't understand the context at all, it's that for a solid year and a half, I was training, I was being given lessons by other coaches. I was pushing up against my physical limitations, my technical limitations. I was losing matches to players like much younger, much less experienced than me, and I was publishing all of it, every point, every error. I never omitted or deleted like anything that was like embarrassing or like some kind of mistake that I made. I put all of it out there. And I'm going to come back and start doing that again, by the way. I'm rehabbing a torn rotator cuff. So that was the context that I was coming from. But a lot of people just didn't even want to hear, or were very, it was obviously, they were very uncomfortable with that idea. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting, and I would encourage you to think about it. How's your relationship with failure? Is your knee-jerk response like very like you want to distance yourself and like just focus on the positive? And if so, there might be something there, a way for you to improve yourself and maybe view it a little bit differently. On the other hand, if you're like, hell yeah, like good job, keep failing, then in my opinion, that's a really healthy relationship to have with failure. So think about it. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you later.